Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and of course we're joined by author and economic analyst here at WAM, John Sneisen, and an article out of the Financial Post says, Bank for International Settlements says Canada is showing early warning signs of a financial crisis. And of course it's really important to go into this because we live in a very socialist country here in Canada, and we are witnessing it break apart as we continue to see debt accumulation through the roof. And John, can you go into this? This is just, it's mind-boggling that people aren't fed up and in the streets over this issue.
Yeah, no, of course, Canada, and I want to promote my book before I do this. That's coming out right away. It is exactly about this. Now, I started writing this for a year ago, so I'm way ahead of the Bank for International Settlements. Of course, they have very delayed data, but I saw this thing coming out as a big issue, and now it's, of course, coming out big time. Now, they talk about Canada as well as a group of Asian countries saw an increase in credit gap since September 2016, the report said. In its full report, BIS indicated that Canada had one of the highest credit to GDP ratios among the developed nations. Now, of course, they don't mention their credit to GDP ratio. I think it's for a reason. I talked about this in some interviews. I talked about this in some reports I've done lately. And their private debt to GDP in Canada is getting to an insane point. It's actually 256.4. Well, that was in December 2015. So we're waiting for the December 2016 numbers.
Oh, what, a month after Trudeau's government gets into office and that scumbag pushes forward this insane
interest rates are super low.
Absolutely. Well, it's been said that the debt accumulation under Trudeau, under the first year of Trudeau's reign, was more than 8 years of Stephen Harper before. Now, let's not blame the scumbag. Let's talk about why this is really happening, and that is because Trudeau is a puppet. The financial sector makes their own rules. The financial sector enforces their own rules, and the financial sector works with all the tentacles across the world of the globalist infrastructure of the monetary system. And let's kind of go into this a bit further, John.
Well, of course, Canada is on a very high, like they showed, for example, the credit to GDP gap in percentage points here. And of course, Canada is way higher than everybody else, which is not a surprise to me, of course. You know, this whole idea of debt and, just borrowing ourselves into prosperity, especially with the Keynesian economics and government.
Absolutely.
Believing that they could just, do a massive amount of deficit spending. We're seeing Trudeau and Morneau completely eviscerating and demolishing Canada by this massive amount of debt that they're, accumulating with their deficit spending. So they're completely eviscerating it on the level of the government. Now, of course, the private sector here is also struggling. I believe Canada is either number 8 or 9 on the world scale on private debt to GDP, but that's with, of course, the 2015 numbers from December in 2015. So we don't know what the current number is. It might have bumped up to, with, of course, these massive property bubbles that, and of course, we're looking at subprime car loan bubbles here in Canada now as well. I think we're seeing, a number that's more 280, 290% almost.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to quickly point out that, of course, we confronted Finance Minister Bill Morneau about a year ago, and it was over the fact that he sold off the remaining gold in the reserves for Canada, the remaining gold reserves. And his answer was basically that gold didn't really have any value. And that just shows intense stupidity or an evil side to him. But I don't think it's evil. And I'll say, he's a bad person for going along with this. But I think it's mostly that he's an absolute puppet and that he literally doesn't know what he's doing. Because when I look at him talking in the parliament, he has absolutely no idea what he's saying. He is stuttering over his words. He has no idea what he's actually getting at. And I think a big part of that is because he is just a willing participant, a puppet, if you will, of a global establishment that's pushing their monetary military goes on Canada, which is willingly going into the socialist so-called utopia, which can turn into Venezuela at any point.
Yeah,
and
better be careful.
it's horrible, and I think it's so destructive, and it's sickening because it's pushing people into debt slavery. And when people are in debt slavery, they're down a bottomless pit of debt, and all they can do is ask for a ladder from the state and the banking system.
Yeah.
Please hand me a ladder. That's servitude, folks. That is how you enslave the populace in debt.
Yeah, well, Canada has, of course, become the #1 debt country in the world almost after Greece. And we see where Greece is. We said, Greece is bankrupt. Of course, the European Union doesn't want to say that. They say that they're having a credit emergency and so on. They just changed the name of bankruptcy. The problem is with Canada, we're never going to be able to pay that debt back that we've accumulated, and that we're currently accumulating on a more rapid scale than ever. Of course, in the 60s, Canada used to have over 1,000 tons of gold, which they've been selling off as a part of, the move to a fiat currency system. They moved themselves off of that. Now, there's a lot of other countries that have, kept their gold because they know that there might be a problem. Well, if somebody moves to a gold standard around the world, Canada is fucked because we don't have gold. So if we were to go to a currency, we would have to adopt another currency and devaluate our currency heavily against it. And of course, that with the SDR or other objects that other
special drawing rights of world currency.
Yeah, that we talked about here on the show many times. I believe that this massive debt bubble is not going to stop yet here in Canada. I think there's just going to be an accumulation for maybe half a more year or so as we continue to blow this massive bubble, and these bozos running the current government just are going to destroy it even further. I hope it's going to stop.
They're not helping.
No, I really hope it's going to stop soon, because if we don't, we're going to end up with what I've been writing about in my book, which is my biggest fear, is this global government and a globalist eating up of Canada into the United Nations. And
absolutely.
And this globalist combine that's, working to, take over the world. And that's where we're heading if we don't do this. Now, let's talk quickly about my book, Josh, because you're writing a foreword for my book, and we're very excited about this. We're actually getting a financial advisor. He is not willing to put out his name because he fears of actually losing his license, and I totally understand him. That's his livelihood, and of course that's how they kill anybody that wants to tell the truth in the financial sector in Canada, with the securities coming and revoking your license. So just wait for that book. We're hoping to have it out by the end of April. And all of this stuff that's talking about in the article, plus a wide array of other big things, and not just, the problems. We also talk about solutions of voluntarism and a whole aspect of other great things in that book that's going to, really help you being able to make yourself safe in this dangerous country that Canada is becoming.
Yeah, individual liberty versus collectivism, and that's so important. And of course, you as a member of Freedom Force International, with J. Edward Griffin and all these other great people, talk about this issue of collectivism, because one statism doesn't mean another form of statism is good. You can get whipped once a day, or you can get whipped twice a day. Sure, getting whipped once is better than twice, but you're still getting whipped, and you need to break free from this collectivist system in order to live a prosperous life apart from this coercive system that is shoving us all into debt, shoving us all into servitude, and shoving us into this backwards mindset of a religious view of state, a religious view of bowing down to rulers instead of bowing down to yourself as an individual to do the right thing and follow the non-aggression principle. But we will get back to you a lot about this in the near future. The Canadian monetary system does not look good, as does any monetary system in the world, frankly. All fiat currency reverts to its intrinsic value of zero, always has, always will. We're on the 1,000th year anniversary in 1024 AD in China of this fiat system that is that's failed every single time eventually. And it's really important that we understand this. It's basic. They just make it complicated on purpose to confuse you, and they make it a lot more complicated than it actually is. I started learning about it at the age of 12. If I can, at the age of 12, you at the age of 40, 50, 60, whatever your age may be, can do it too. And the more we know, the more we can keep ourselves and our families and our friends safe in the case of the inevitable dollar crash. And one of the first big reports we ever did, John, was on the Canadian dollar crashing. It's at 80-something thousand views on YouTube at this point, and people go, well, it hasn't crashed yet. No, we are talking about an inevitability. It will crash. We can't put a date on it because it's too manipulated. You can't just say it's going to happen on that at this date, because the system is so manipulated that you can't make a time. You just know it's going to happen, and we are just trying to warn you so you can insure yourself and make sure that you, as a free individual, can stand above this crash and be able to survive after it happens, because it's a terrible thing and it's going to hurt a lot of people. Not just hurt, it's going to lead to the death of a lot of people, and that is so important for you to understand, so you can make sure that you, your family, your children, most of all, can stay safe in the event of this inevitable crash. So thanks, John. We'll get back to you with much more. Check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated. And of course, check our address in the description and the comments for Bitcoin. We will put the scanning code on the screen for you to scan if you so please. And also check our link in the description and the comments for the Red Pill Expo, where you can meet people like Robert Kiyosaki, G. Edward Griffin, Ty Bollinger. You could see people speak like James Corbett, like Lord Monckton. So many incredible people are going to be speaking at this event, and we hope to see you in Bozeman, Montana. You can buy tickets at the link below. It will be in June, and we hope to see you there. So thanks again, John. This is Josh Sigurdson and John Sneisen signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.